Hi, this is Greg Foltz, President of Marshall Institute. We're doing another video blog on management series here, and in this case we're talking about sustaining TPM and reliability improvements. I'm going to talk about 4 key points which really are a subset of our 8-phase improvement model. The 4 key points that we've begun to talk about in the previous sessions was building a consensus on our strengths and opportunities, or understanding our current state, building a case for change in our organization, developing internal expertise to drive the change, and then what we're going to talk about today is developing a strategy for sustainable change. So when it comes to strategy, a few tips, a few things to think about is that, first of all, we don't have to guess about what the best of the best companies are doing. There have been extensive studies of over 5,000 plants that show the best of the best. The plants that have the highest reliability, the highest availability, the highest output out of their equipment versus the cost of maintenance to get there. The ones that are in the lowest cost, highest output category over a sustained period of time, there are correlating factors that show that those plants have done certain things to improve as they've gone forward. Now, one of those things that they've done to show, one of the correlating factors is having a strategy for both long-term and short-term deployment of their reliability initiative. That strategy must have consensus from the organization, and we must begin to build. Some of the other points we've talked about is how to build some of that consensus and build that internal expertise. But what we need to do is we need to begin to create a vision for the change that the people will buy into. As we create that vision, we understand that there's gaps between where we are today and where we want to get to. We can begin to create a short-term plan, usually a 6-month to 1-year range, that has actions and accountabilities to get us moving and starting on the path towards increased reliability. Eventually, in the next 3-4 months, we begin to develop a 5-year plan so that we can show folks, the people in the organization, the longer-term strategy. This is not something that we're going to fix or we're going to change in 1 year or 6 months. This is something that's going to take us a long period of time to get into that upper quartile, best of the best bracket. As we move, we can spread our actions out and deploy them across the facility. And I really want to encourage you, when you're creating your plans, to engage as many people as possible in the plans. Both because you need many hands on deck to drive the change, and because you want people who are helping to make this happen. If they're not involved, then they will distance themselves from the strategy over a period of time. So make sure you get people involved. And the last thing I want to point out about strategy is make sure that you're following up to make sure the strategy is moving forward in your organization. So if we have consensus on the strengths and opportunities, and we build a vision for what that needs to happen, if we begin to build a case for change as to how it's going to affect the future of the organization, if we develop internal expertise and we develop this short-term and long-term strategy that we're talking about this morning, we have some of the first steps that are important for sustainable change in your organization. This is Greg Foltz, and thanks a lot for some time this morning.